Imagine this, you're at work doing your job and you become injured. So what do? Do you keep working? Should you seek the help of a lawyer? Laura McKinnon of McKinnon Law Firm is with us this morning to answer those questions. Thanks so much for taking time this Sunday morning. How are you?
I'm just fine. Thank you for having me, Ashley.
Well, we've got a lot of information to delve through. Of course, we're talking about workman's comp. First, walk us through the definition and what exactly it is.
Workers' compensation is in all 50 states. Arkansas has it, and it's basically to a no-fault system that covers an employee when they've been injured on the job.
So let's talk about when that happens. When an employee is injured on the job, what's the first thing that they should do?
Well, usually the employer is going to have them fill out some forms. Some of those forms are good, some of those are bad, but you're going to be filling out those forms very first. And then there's going to be a decision made as to whether they want to pay for you being off work, whether they want to pay for your doctors, whether they're going to let you go to your doctor or they're going to make you go to the company doctor.
So there's a lot of questions involved right after something happens. So when does someone get a lawyer involved to help weed out these questions and what's right, what's wrong, what the law says?
Actually, very early on is when you need to. I had a young man that called me yesterday that had his finger cut off, and they were making him go to a doctor that had a nurse treat the finger, not even the doctor, and sent him back really with some pretty severe problems. And if I hadn't talked to him, he wouldn't have gone to the emergency room and got some care he needed. It's not good.
It sounds like it's something that you definitely need to have questions answered, because when you're dealing with this, especially if you haven't gone through it before, you really don't know what to do. So who's eligible for workers' compensation?
Anybody that's been injured on the job. The problem that you run into is even if the employer loves you, wants to help you, wants to take care of you, has the same loyalty towards you that you had towards them, you run into that there's this insurance company. And the insurance company, they're just all about saving money. And so you get into this situation where the insurance adjusters are going to be going with you to every doctor's visit, getting your doctors to say certain things, and really creating some problems.
Sounds like a lot of middlemen in this situation.
And it's really sad, because used to the doctors were allowed to have that patient-physician relationship and treat them, and there's really that interference now.
Now what happens when you're working, you are injured, and that injury is deemed permanent?
Well, if you can't work, you end up getting a little, some checks while you're off work. It's not what you were earning, it's a portion of what you were earning.
And that's by law?
Yeah, that's by law. You get some money to support you and your family while the doctors have you off work getting over the surgery, for example. If you have some permanent damage, the legislature has this little schedule, this little grid that says each body part is worth a certain amount.
And so based on that is kind of where you go from there then. What happens then when that injury, the doctor or someone else tells you that you can't work or can't come back to work?
Or sometimes the employer just won't let you come back. You get into a situation where you're allowed to get some additional benefits. That is usually always when they start fighting, and at that point they do not have to take you back to work. That's a myth in Arkansas that you've got your job secure. There's some things a lawyer can do to make them do some things if you aren't able to go back to work, maybe get you some additional compensation, but it can be a very bad situation.
It sounds like a very scary situation to get into and to have to deal with all this paperwork. What's the battling process here? Do you find a lot of times you're going back and forth between insurance companies, there's paperwork, there's mounds of it, and this turns into a pretty lengthy battle?
It can be a very lengthy battle. And you were right, these people, they're wonderful people. I love my clients. They loved working usually. They did not ask to get injured. And they get into this situation, and it's such a bureaucracy that they really need some help wading through it.
Which is why you say you can step right on in, and of course your motto, your firm known, always no win, no fee, and you say that's the way it is, just that simple, no bare bones about it.
That is it.
All right. Well, now, one thing that you did say that I just want to touch upon, which seems kind of discerning, is every body part is on a sliding scale. So what's the most expensive body part to hurt?
The injury to the body as a whole, which would be the back, the hip, the shoulder. Some of the things like hands are really practically nothing. just a few weeks of checks.
Really? Well, that is why we hope none of you ever get hurt at work. But of course, if you do, Laura says she is there to answer all of your questions. And if you have any questions, you can log on to our website at 5newsonline.com. Once you're there, click on the tab, the one that says As Seen on 5. Then you can just click on Ask the Expert. You'll find a link on her Ask the Expert page. You can email your questions straight to Laura. McKinnon Law Firm has offices in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, and Russellville. Call them toll free, 888-558-8841. If you have any questions for Laura or any of our 5 News legal experts, just log on. Now, Laura only practices Social Security and disability, car wrecks, and workman's compensation. Stick around. We've got more 5 Sunday Morning coming up right after this.